Nick and Kristen from 99.5 The Wolf joining us right now. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How good was that album, by the way?
I know. I was going to say a little Throwback Thursday with Lauryn Hill there. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that album actually topping this list. So Apple Music out with an interesting list of the 100 best albums, in their words. They had a team of music editors that put together this list. A lot of people have lots of opinions about it. I'm curious, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was around the time of the Lauryn Hill album coming out, and so I agree. It is one of the best albums to come out. I'm shocked that Rolling Stone made it #1, though.
Well, again, and it's interesting because I'm an old soul, and I was looking down this Apple list, and I didn't see the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds anywhere, like in the top 5, and I definitely think it needs to be there.
Huh, interesting. We're looking at a couple pictures here of some of those top 10 albums. You had an album from Prince, The Beatles.
You had Abbey Road, you had Lemonade by Beyonce, you had
Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar.
Frank Ocean, Blonde. So yes, we had a lot of albums that skew, we were saying more modern, like you were saying, Kristen. Pet Sounds not being on the top 10, I'm sure that had a lot of people talking, but it is a very subjective list, and I will say largely I agree with it. I mean, there's certain albums I think should be higher. I think Jagged Little Pill and Tapestry should be higher. I think Taylor Swift 1989 should be lower, despite being a staunch Swiftie myself. But I think it is a very good, all-encompassing list of what Apple is saying are the best albums of all time.
I still need to dig into, do you guys know some of the, like, did they use any metrics, or was this just a room of like music journalists nerding out on music?
I don't even know what kind of metrics you would use. How do you put Amy Winehouse's Back to Black up against Michael Jackson's Thriller? Like, it's very subjective. I think it really comes down to the fact that Nirvana was on the top 10 as well. It's like cultural. Like, did it influence the culture? Did it move music forward? Did it change music? I think all of those things were in consideration.
Which is why I'm disappointed that the Space Jam soundtrack did not make it. One of the greatest albums of all time. I'm genuine opinion about this. It's one of the greatest albums of all time, and I'm sad it didn't make the list. They clearly didn't consider soundtracks at all.
There are some good. I would say there are some good tracks on that soundtrack. I can't understand why Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping wasn't on it. I get knocked down. I mean, come on. Well, no, it's interesting too though, because you look at some of these albums that maybe they had 1 or 2 songs that were just off the charts hits, but to really get a full album to be a success and to quantify, you know, Kristen, to your point, the impact on the culture, the music sampling and choices that were influenced because of it, like that's really hard to, you know, put into a list.
Yeah, I'll say this unironically, I think Fergie's The Duchess should have been on there. That I don't think you should be laughing right now.
I try not to laugh, but I agree.
That album is no.
There are some good songs. Yes,
it's a great album from front to back, and I mean that's why like you can't include like now that's what I call music CDs, because it's like obviously the best of that year, but it doesn't influence the culture of music.
It makes you think though. There is so much work that goes into putting together a full album. I've said this before, where it's like if I were an artist and I have nowhere near the amount of talent of any of these people, if I could get even enough together to put like one song out, I'd be like, yep, that's it. That's the best I'm ever gonna do. But to have a collection of songs, you're always gonna have a couple that you really love, and then I would feel like it would never be done. I would never be able to put out an album because I would want them all to be amazing.
You would want it to be Fergie's The Duchess, and you just wouldn't be able to measure that.
I will never live up to that. I just think
I have a rule when I buy albums that you have to put out 3 singles first that are all good before I buy your album, because I don't trust anyone to have a good album anymore. So once you give me 3 good singles, then I'm like, all right, I'll buy your album.
That used to be my rule for CDs, but now who even owns a CD? I can't remember the last time I went and bought a CD, but I would go and I would look like, how many of these am I really going to listen to over and over again? And
so too pragmatic.
I know. I overanalyze everything. But these are the artists who, you know, they did a pretty good job. Left quite the mark.
Yeah.
Well, at least
and they're getting paid for it too.
Yeah, still getting those residuals.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good talk, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And for more trending topics, catch Nick and Kristen weekdays on 99.5 The Wolf.